So this is problem 10.3b, and the first thing they ask us to do is to issue these bonds, and they're going to be issued in 1/1/2015, so we know we get cash, and we're going to have some bonds payable. The bonds payable on and off the books at their face value, so that's the $800,000, but these were issued at 105, so we go 800,000 times the 1.05, because they were issued at 105. So that means that when we issue these bonds, we actually get $840,000. So we get 840, which means that these bonds were issued at a premium. So premium on bonds payable starts out at $40,000. So let's just throw up some T accounts for these. We have our bond payable for $800,000, and we have the account that goes with it, the premium on bonds payable, and that starts out at $40,000. Okay. The next thing they ask us to do is at 12/31, the balance in the premium account is $36,000. Let's just show how we get there, all right? I don't like the way Wiley just kind of skips from one thing to another. Let's make the interest payments and show, because right now we've got a premium balance of 40. Let's see how we get to that 36. So let's pay the first interest. Okay, so here's 7/1/2015, and we're going to have some interest expense. And we're going to pay out some cash. How much cash do we pay out? Well, we take the face value of the bond, 800,000 times 9%. That's the stated interest rate. So that would give us 72,000 per year interest, but we make it in 2 payments, so each payment, 36,000. So here's 36,000. But we also know we're going to amortize some of this premium with each interest payment. So how many interest payments do we have altogether? Well, it's a 10-year bond, 2 payments each year, so that's 20 payments. So we take the 40,000, divide it by the 20 payments, and each payment we're going to amortize 2,000 of that premium. Okay, so how do we do that? The premium starts out with a credit balance, so we are going to be amortizing it, so we're going to debit the premium on bonds payable, 2,000, and that reduces our interest expense to 34,000. So you can logically think about this, and we borrowed 800. We got 840,000. We're only going to have to pay back 800,000, and so we have essentially we have the use of more money than we have to pay back. And that is regarded as a reduction in our borrowing cost. And this is mechanically how that works. Our interest expense without the premium would have been 36, but with the premium, it's reduced to 34. Okay, so let's make the journal entries that go with this. Okay, so why don't I just, so to be complete here, we'll throw up cash. And initially, we got 840,000 in cash. Here's our bond payable, and here's our premium on bonds payable. That takes care of the first journal entry. And so now we have our interest expense. And we see how this works. We had the interest expense. We paid out 36,000 in cash. But then we also amortized some of the premium. So we went 2,000 here, and that reduces our interest expense, okay? So we would make this same journal entry on, well, we would make the journal entry on 12/31/15, and it would be basically interest expense, the premium on bonds payable, except it would be interest payable because we wouldn't be paying it until January 1. But the amounts would be the same. So we would pay another $36,000 in cash, our interest expense $36,000, then we'd amortize some more of the premium, and that reduces our interest expense. Okay, so now, when we look at this, we're going to be, it says to redeem the bonds on 1/1/2017. So we would make these same journal entries again for 2016, okay? So we would pay the $36,000 in 2016, so we would have our interest, and you know, these would obviously be closed out each year. And then we would amortize 2,000 more, okay? So this is for 2016, no, I'm sorry, for 15 and 2016 here. So now, when we get down to 1/1/2017, when we're supposed to redeem the bond, 40 minus 2,468 gives us a balance of $32,000 in our premium account that has not been amortized yet. Okay, so when they state this problem, they say on 1/1/2017, the carrying value of the bonds was $832,000, and the company redeems the bonds at 105. So when we are showing this on the balance sheet, we would be going bonds payable plus the premium of $32,000. That would be the carrying value of the bond. Okay, so now let's do the journal entry to redeem this bond. We know we're going to pay out cash, and it says it was redeemed at 105. Okay, so that's going to be, I'm going to lose all these things, that we're going to have to pay out $840,000 in cash to redeem these bonds. Okay, because they would, if we do the 800 times 105, that's 840,000. We know the bond payable comes off the books at its face value of 800,000. We know that the rest of this premium has to be removed from the books, so we're going to go premium on bonds payable. Because just like when you sell a truck and you have the accumulated depreciation that goes with it, you can't leave the accumulated depreciation hanging out there. You can't leave unamortized discounts and premiums hanging out when you redeem the bonds. So we're going to go the $32,000 balance, and that gets that account down to 0. And then the difference between the two will be the loss on the redemption. Okay, and the loss on the redemption here is $8,000. Okay, so that's kind of, you know, no extra charge for all the, you know, extra journal entries on this one.